All right, let's talk about it. Drake 20 verse 1. It's all over the internet. Unless you've been under a rock, you've been seeing all the reviews and reactions to this. Pretty much, Drake just smashed the internet and jumped into, you would say, the content world by doing a 20 versus 1. He did it on the NELK network, which I definitely have a problem with. And my problem is, last time I checked, so-called urban creators created this concept of 20 versus 1. I mean, Drake, you could at least throw an alley-oop and reach down to one of these networks and one of these guys and put it on their channel. At minimum, do a collab. You do it on the NELK channel. They got 8 million subscribers, man. They got all the money in the world. That's my one thing that I say, hey, I wasn't really feeling that. But let's get into the rest of this on why this is a big chess move. Look, I purposely waited till everyone did their reaction videos just to see if anybody caught on to the real reason why Drake is doing a 20 versus 1. And I have to say, nobody, I mean nobody that I saw caught on to why Drake is doing this. But we need to take it back a little bit on why we ended up right here. After the Glove album, which is this album right here, where Drake put out like 5 albums all in one, and I made a video called Drake is Unk, which you should watch to get the context. I basically called Drake Unk because he can put out any music right now. At this stage in his career, he's a legacy act. And I said releasing all this music at once was to fulfill his contract obligations so he can move on. And I was right. Now let's talk about the one thing that's going to be an asterisk on Drake's career, the battle with Kendrick Lamar. Up until a certain point, you gotta say it was pretty much even until Kendrick Lamar had that one in the clip, Not Like Us. Not Like Us to me wasn't all that, but it became a West Coast anthem and you cannot compete against that. But what if I tell you that Drake had a fully loaded clip that he didn't even use? Yeah, I'll explain what I mean. Drake had a fully loaded clip during that battle that he never used. What is it? Right now on Instagram, Drake has 140 million followers. 140 million followers. Why is that important? Well, that's the same reason why Drake is doing a 20 versus 1 right now. Each one of those people could have helped him in that battle. And I'm gonna give you a perfect example by using his former friend and a guy he made a whole bunch of hit songs with, Rick Ross. Rick Ross dropped an album that went double plywood in 2026. But did that change anything in Rick Ross's life? No. He's still gonna be in the Hip Hop Hall of Fame. He has classic albums, and he realized how to keep himself relevant in his late 40s by using his 20 million followers on Instagram to promote his car show and any other products. That makes him a successful businessman outside of music. But the one thing that Rick Ross also uses 20 million followers for is to clap back. That's what Drake missed out on. Let me give you a good example. A few years back, a watchbuster dude called out Rick Ross for wearing a replica watch. And the guy said this.
You see, I just throw on some sneakers, whatever it is, just for the kicks. You know, it's just for kicks. That's all it is.
I am fuming. That's a fake watch. That's not a real watch.
How can you tell?
That watch was only produced twice, one in 37mm, one in 41mm. And I know both owners, and they're not Rick Ross.
But what did Rick Ross come back and do? Did he make a song about it? No. He simply went to his phone, pressed live, and said this.
And for the little fat guy in the one cubicle office speaking on watches, speaking on Rick Ross and his Audemars, stay out of grown folks' business, little piglet. Get out of that one cubicle office and go and see the world.
That rebuttal slapped so hard that the original guy who made the comment about his watch had to come back and say, hey, I still think your watch is fake, but that was a pretty good pushback. Now here's why I bring that up. That right there is the blueprint. Rick Ross didn't need 16 bars, a producer, a mixing engineer, or a rollout plan. He needed his thumb and a front-facing camera. That is a weapon. And it's a weapon that works in real time while the internet is still hot, while people are still talking. Now compare that to what Drake did during the Kendrick battle. Drake had diss tracks. Drake had a whole music video with the AI Tupac verse that got him a cease and desist. Drake had lawyers involved. Meanwhile, Kendrick is on stage at the Super Bowl performing Not Like Us in front of the whole world, and the internet is doing all of Kendrick's marketing for free. So ask yourself, why didn't Drake just go live? Why didn't he do what Rick Ross did? He's got 140 million people who would have watched instantly. No rollout, no waiting on a Friday release, no strategy meeting. Just him, a phone, and the truth as he sees it. I think the answer is simple. Drake's whole brand for almost 15 years has been built on being untouchable. The mysterious guy in the mansion, the guy who drops the song and disappears, the guy who lets the music talk. Going live and clapping back like a regular dude breaks that illusion. It makes him look like he's fighting in the mud instead of floating above it. And I think at the time, that's exactly the calculation his team made. Protect the aura, let the music absorb the hit, ride it out. Except here's the problem with that plan. It didn't work. The internet don't reward silence anymore. It rewards presence. Kendrick won the meme war, Kendrick won the streaming numbers on that record, and Kendrick won the culture moment. Because Kendrick showed up in the format the culture actually lives in right now. So now, over a year removed from that battle, Drake finally uses the weapon. Except he's not using it to respond to Kendrick anymore. That ship has sailed. He's using it to rebuild the version of himself that got buried during the beef. That's the real chess move behind this 20 versus 1. It's not about the internet points. It's not even really about the game itself. It's about reintroducing Drake to an entire generation that only knows him from meme edits, reaction videos, and Not Like Us. It's a soft reset. Think about it like this. He picks a format the algorithm already loves. 20 versus 1 content gets pushed hard because it's fast, it's competitive, and clips travel. He puts himself in a room full of regular internet personalities. No bodyguards, no aura, just him competing, which humanizes him after 2 years of being painted as out of touch and defeated. And he does it on a platform, NELK, that skews younger, more casual rap fan, more meme-driven. Exactly the demographic that was clowning him the hardest during the beef. That's not an accident. That's strategy. That's a guy who watched Jay-Z shift from bars to business boardrooms, watched Rick Ross shift from mixtapes to a car show and a business empire, and decided his version of that pivot is showing up in the content world on the internet's terms instead of his own. Now, do I think it fully works? Honestly, I go back and forth. Because here's the thing, doing it on NELK still comes with baggage. That platform has had its own controversies and its own audience debates over the years. And Drake attaching himself to that world invites a whole different set of questions that have nothing to do with music. So yeah, it's a smart move for relevance, but it's also a little bit of a gamble on association. But you can't deny the numbers. These clips are everywhere right now. You can't avoid seeing them. Everybody's talking about it. And that's exactly what the old Drake strategy of just dropping an album and disappearing could not do anymore. So love it or hate it, the guy adapted. He finally pulled out the weapon he was sitting on the whole time. He just used it 2 years too late for the battle that actually needed it. Now let's actually rewind for a second, because I want to talk about what happened inside the 20 versus 1 itself, not just the strategy behind it. If you haven't watched it, the format is simple. One guy, in this case Drake, goes up against 20 women, and is less about a real competition and more about seeing how somebody handles pressure, trash talk, and chaos in real time, unscripted. That right there is the whole point I'm making. It is unscripted. There's no punch-in, there's no studio session, there's no PR team writing the bars for him. It's just him reacting in the moment, live, in front of a camera, the exact same muscle Rick Ross used on that watch situation. And from what I saw in the reactions, he actually held his own. People were surprised at how loose he was, how quick he was with the comebacks, how comfortable he looked just being a regular guy in a room with 20 women giving his best riz. And that's exactly the imagery build I was talking about. For 2 years, the narrative on Drake was that he's soft, that he got exposed, that he can't take a hit. And now here he is, taking 20 hits at once, on camera, unscripted, and walking out of it looking like he's in on the joke instead of the punchline. That's not luck. That's not him just having fun for the clout. That is a calculated appearance on a calculated platform at a calculated time to flip a narrative that music alone was not going to flip for him. Now let's talk predictions, because I think this is bigger than just one video. I think you're gonna see a lot more of this from Drake going forward. I would not be surprised if the next 12 months look less like a traditional album rollout and more like him doing podcast run-throughs, more collabs with creators, maybe even his own long-form content or a docuseries. Something that keeps him inside the algorithm instead of waiting on a Friday to drop a project and hoping people still care by Monday. Because here's the truth about the music industry right now, and this applies to way more artists than just Drake. Streaming numbers don't build relevance the way they used to. Culture moves through clips, through reactions, through creators reacting to creators. Kendrick understood that with one performance at the Super Bowl. Ross understood that with one Instagram Live. And now, 2 years late, Drake is starting to understand it too. And look, I want to be fair here, because I know some of y'all in the comments are going to say I'm just riding for Drake or I'm just hating on him. And it's neither. I think the guy made a real mistake during the Kendrick battle by fighting an internet-era war with old-school industry tactics. Diss tracks, rollout strategy, legal threats. That's a 2010 playbook. Kendrick fought a 2025 war and won it. But I also think it takes a certain level of self-awareness to look at that loss, sit with it for 2 years, and then actually adjust instead of doubling down. A lot of legacy artists don't do that. They get outdated and they just keep releasing the same kind of album into a world that's already moved past that format, wondering why the numbers keep shrinking. So say what you want about the NELK platform choice, and I already told you my issue with that, but you cannot say the man didn't learn something. This 20 versus 1 is Drake finally speaking the internet's language instead of expecting the internet to keep speaking his. So let me know down in the comments, do you think this was a smart pivot for Drake, or do you think it's a little desperate at this stage of his career? Either way, I appreciate y'all pulling up. If this video put you on to something you hadn't thought about yet, do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one.
It's Balboa.